good afternoon, and good afternoon. Thank you for joining us on another episode of the Roundtable Talk Show. I am one of your hosts, Sharifah Hardie, and we have an incredible show for you today. Go ahead and share this show before we get too far into it, because I know, just based on some of the conversations we've already had, that today's show is going to be incredible. And like I always say, friends don't let friends miss out on the Roundtable Talk Show. So while you're sharing the show, I'm going to go ahead and introduce the rest of our guests and co-hosts. Today we have the incredible, the amazing Dr. Picolya McCall. Dr. McCall, how are you?
Kidding.
Dr. McCall, it would help if you would.
Good morning. Hi. I got it. Good morning or good afternoon, actually, right? How is everyone? I am Dr. McCall, licensed psychologist. So I welcome everyone. Hi.
You're licensed. What do you do? Who are you? What do you do? Aside from have beautiful babies.
Right. I know. Beautiful babies. I'm a mom, clearly. Yes, that's what I do. I'm a licensed psychologist. I have a journal. I oversee skilled nursing facilities. I do psychological evaluations on adolescents, court hearings, fitness for duty type things, evaluating children and educational systems. I wear so many hats. It's a lot.
Yes, I can imagine. So thank you for taking your time to be here with us today and to join the conversation. And our next co-host is the incredible LyNea Bell. How you doing, LyNea?
Hello, good afternoon, all. Well, my name is LyNea. I go by LB in the industry. I am the CEO and president or founder of BH Talent and Literary Agency. I work with actors, singers, comedians, writers, directors. I'm also the founder of Got Connections. It's a directory, Got Connections Social, a social media platform, Got Con, a search engine. Oh my God, Got One TV, a network, and a Hollywood Black News, which is a media company. And I am also the co-founder and co-CEO of the Black Business CoOp with my co-host here, in addition to being the president of the Hollywood chapter.
Incredible. And who do we have today, LB?
Let's talk about our guests. You guys, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Is it a delay? Okay, I wasn't sure if it was a delay. You guys know her. She's been on our channel since relaunch. This is Niki Norlock. She's the Truth series is nothing more, nothing less than the evolution of a soul. She's the opening of a heart, the healing of a body, and the expansion of a mind, and finally the freeing of a spirit. She's an author. So we're so happy to have you with us, Niki. You want to introduce yourself?
Wow, you did such a good job of covering it. Yes, I'm an author. I'm an indie filmmaker. I work with chronic pain patients and I work with addiction recovery. I also am currently riding around Mexico on motorcycles, filming it because I can. And yeah, that's my current life. I'm writing, making videos, and just living my best possible life.
That is awesome. We're happy to have you back with us. Our next guest today is Shannon Leisher. She's based in California. Shannon is a world-renowned psychic medium and energy worker who was born with powerful inherited abilities from generations of truly gifted family members. Shannon, talk to us. Introduce yourself.
Hi, thanks for having me on. I was on quite some time ago with Sharifah, and I decided it's about time to do it again. So I am like you said, one of my hats is psychic medium, but I also am a life coach. I am something called the spiritual catalyst, which means when I work with somebody, their life changes, their energy changes almost immediately in the call. And then I am a recent certified hypnotherapist. So I have a really large toolbox and I love to use all of it on helping people find their happiness in life.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm excited. And I'm
You're-
excited to be on this show. I'm excited. I wanted everyone to meet Shannon. Shannon says that she had been on the show before. Shannon was actually a regular on the show before. And I don't know if Shannon is going to kill me or not, but she knows I love her. And I want you to, because I think you kind of walked us to the end of the story, Shannon, of you're a life coach, 2024, you're changing the world. You have this in your family, but there's more to your story. Are we going to talk about it today, Shannon?
Which one? I mean, I have so many, right? Are you talking about the reason for my shirt?
I wanted to. Yes.
I say let's start there. Yeah.
Can we talk about your shirt?
Let's start there.
So it's this shirt right here. It's on the wings of our fallen we soar. This was actually this particular design was given to me by the angels, and the orange ribbon represents that I'm a survivor from the Las Vegas massacre. And then you'll see all the little birds for all the people who were killed in the Las Vegas massacre. Long story short, I was shot in the Las Vegas massacre and I was saved by the angels. I was actually given the vision 2 months beforehand and was able to heal myself before I got there. For those who know about time, past, present, and future exist all at the same time. It's not a linear thing like we have here. And so there's miracles, lots and lots of synchronicities. I'm sitting with you guys here today.
Oh, wow. I love it. Wow. I love her. I love her. I love her. I love her. Because my title, Truth, My Synchronistic Journey. So yeah, I love this, guys. This is gonna be fun. I'm excited. Tell me more. I want to know more about the work that you do. How did you get started connecting to the angelic realm?
Sharifah, we can't hear her.
Yeah, I think she's still on mute.
Yep.
There you go, Shannon.
She's not on mute, but she's not on me. Shannon's just having. That's what happens sometimes. You get to the good stories, you get to the good part, trying to find out what happened. Premonition 2 months prior, and then all of a sudden we can't hear anything. We just can't hear. I know you said something, LB, about what Shannon had to say.
Oh, what I was saying was I want to know more. I want to hear more. Because again, when we talk about the survivor portion and then having or being known ahead of time of what was to happen, it reminds me of certain things. So I wanted her to dive in on what that was like as we dive in, because that's a powerful story within itself. And did that draw you closer into, like, I have so many, so I'm ready for you to dive in when we can get audio for you.
Yes, Shannon, are you with us?
Try to see if you accidentally muted your phone. So hit the arrow up and see if the audio will come up. Maybe that's it. Nope.
So many questions I have. Like,
you may need to log off and log back on. I don't know, but this is how life works. Right.
Time being non-linear.
Now we have questions. Now we come up with a list of our questions.
Being non-linear. I love that she brought that up. Yeah. Oh, she's yummy.
Do you agree with that, Niki?
I agree. Time is non-linear.
Now, do you
We
agree
all
with the
exist. We exist in a now moment. I mean, I've had some strange personal experiences along the way, and I'm beyond a shadow of doubt. I'm absolutely convinced that no, time is not a linear thing. It is all right now, and it's just depending on what now you want to focus on. And yes, she's back. It's
I'm
awesome.
So you guys can hear me.
Yes.
Okay, good. I apologize for that. I have, well, when I
Well,
sometimes
Shannon,
electronics go crazy for me, so I do my best, but I do mess up electronics a lot. So, are you guys able to hear
we
me?
want to hear from you, Shannon.
Yes.
You were answering our question.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, we took it.
So I have had an angelic connection since I was born. I was able to see angels since I was a child. So that was the first question that I heard. And I have an everyday conversation with them. So I am very connected to them.
That's amazing.
I loved that. I came in on the tail end of the conversation about time not being linear. I think if we as a human race could understand anything, is that time is now and it's all around us, and we have the biggest possibility to change our lives with a thought, and even with
It is.
yeah.
Oh,
So
yes.
can you take us back to the 2 months prior to the Las Vegas scenario? Like, let's if that's okay, can we dive into that?
Absolutely. So I was married at the time, and I was mad. You know how that happens. And I was laying in bed, and all of a sudden I started to have an anxiety attack. And in the instant, I felt like I was shot. I felt the bullet go into my stomach, and I felt the heat of the blood coming down my leg. And I was telling my husband at the time, I said, you know what, I think I've been shot. And he's like, no, you're not. You're right here. There's no blood. And I'm like, but I feel it. I can feel my organs being destroyed. I could feel the blood. And then instantly my mind and my vision was transported to a parking lot at night, and I was leaning up against a metal object, and there was this brown-haired girl holding my wound saying, stay with me, stay with me. And so I was telling my husband at the time what was going on, and he's like, well, you're a healer, heal yourself. So I'm thinking I tapped into a dimensional me that needed my help. So energetically, I pull the bullet out. I start healing all the organs, and I pull the bullet out completely. And I still had in my mind, I could see I still had an indentation in my stomach and a burn all the way around that would not close up. And so I walked around actually after that vision for a couple weeks like I had been shot. I mean, pain and cramping and all of that, like I was recovering from being shot. And so when I drove to Vegas, I still had no idea, but I had a bad feeling. And so I was like, well, I'm still going to go, just have a good time, because I was trying to just get away from the situation that I was in. And I actually didn't plan on going to the concert. I planned on hanging out with my friends. And then, when they went to the concert, I would just spend some time to kind of heal myself. And so on a Saturday night, the friends that I were staying with got into an argument, and they said, take our tickets. We're not going to the concert on Sunday. And I am a line dancing fiend. And I said, you know what? I'm going to take the tickets. And I heard they had something called silent line dancing, where everyone wears headphones and they can dance together. So I definitely wanted to do that. So when I got there, I had friends that were already there. There were about 40 of them that were already there. And I was texting everybody, and the texts weren't going through. And right before Jason Aldean went on stage, I got one text from a friend saying, we are front center, come and see us. So I start making my way through the crowd, which is really hard to do for anybody that's been in a concert. They know. But I was able to get front center, probably 3 rows back. and I couldn't find my friends. And I was like, well, you know what? I'm just going to stand here for a few minutes, watch the concert, and then I think I'm going to go. Well, I noticed, I started noticing everything, first of all. And I noticed that Jason Aldean was flinching. And I'm like, how weird that he's flinching. And I even had recorded it. I'm like, oh, this is really weird that he's flinching. And all of a sudden, I started noticing all the girls sitting on the shoulders of the guys. And my brain instantly thought they're targets. I don't even know why I had thought that in that time. And I hear Gabriel's voice say, get out now. And I'm thinking to myself, how do you get out? I don't know if anybody's been front and center in a concert with 22,000 people. You're not going anywhere, right? But I felt this urgency to get out. So I started going sideways out of the crowd. Took me quite a while, but once I got out of the crowd, I was at the last person in the crowd and the gunshot started. And we thought it was fireworks. And we're like, what crazy person is shooting off fireworks? And the second round is when people started to drop. And my instincts at that moment was do not run with the crowd, because I felt like I'd be picked out like fish in a fishbowl, right? It felt to me like I'd be a bigger target. So I started to walk the same direction that I was moving out of. And I noticed the overturned metal object that I had seen in my vision and realized I was in a parking lot. And I hear instantaneously a high-pitched noise coming right at me. Like I couldn't even describe the feeling. And at that moment, my brain went into gamma. And that's, when your brain is really getting ready to prepare for something and everything goes in slow motion. And at that moment, Gabriel said, you're going to be hit and it's okay. We're going to save you. You're going to be okay, but you have to let it happen. And in that moment, something hits me in the stomach, right in the same spot that I had seen 2 months ago. And I started panicking and I pulled my pants down to try and find, I don't know what I was going to do, but I try and find the wound. And in that moment, a bright light appeared and the bullet went out the same way it came in. And it cauterized and closed everything up, with the exception of that indentation and that burn mark that I had seen 2 months ahead of time. And the girl that I had seen in my vision grabs me and throws me up against the metal object and starts ripping my clothes the rest of the way off. She's like, I saw the bullet go in. Where's the exit wound? And she's like, stay with me, stay with me. And I had told her, I'm like, no, the bullet is right there. And I went to pick it up and it was so hot in my hands, I had to let it go. And then there was another round and another round and another round. And the round of bullets didn't stop for quite some time. But in that moment, my brain had already resigned to the fact that I wasn't going to make it out of there. So I decided to help as many people as possible. And I was actually one of the last people out of the venue at the time. So that's the longer version of the story.
Wow. I mean, just listening to you in the story brings so many questions. And when people say things don't happen and miracles don't happen in 2024, we definitely know a true angel. Now we're going to ask some questions and continue the conversation, but we do have to, stop for a brief commercial break.
Are you a business owner, CEO, entrepreneur, Artist, musician, celebrity, or influencer interested in more exposure for your business? Schedule your one-on-one interview with Sharifah Hardie today. We handle everything for you. We video interview you, we professionally produce your interview, and we distribute your interview. We do.
And we're back. It looks like.
We are having fun today. What are your thoughts? And hearing that, Niki, what were your thoughts?
When I was 16 years old, I was sitting.
Niki's off guard.
Yeah, no. I just when I was 16 years old, I was in a car with my godmother, and we were driving through a snowstorm, and I was not wearing my seatbelt. I had had a dream the night before that there was going to be an accident. I had called my dad. I had asked him to please convince her somehow to not drive that day. We could stay another day at the hotel and come back the next day. She wouldn't have it. She wouldn't listen to him. So in the car we got, I knew exactly what was going to happen. I wasn't wearing a seatbelt, but 30 seconds before we hit the highway snowplow, I heard a very, very, very strong voice in my head saying, "Put your seatbelt on now. Now." And I did. And then she lost control and she hit a highway snowplow. And I don't know if you've seen highway snowplows in Canada, but they are monstrous. One of the tires was actually bigger than the car. I never did get to see the car afterwards. They wouldn't let me. They said the only spot in the car that was not completely totaled was the spot I was sitting in. I remember very little except for two incredible things happening. I called out of the window and they were focused on my aunt because she was seriously injured. She was about 4 foot, I don't know, 8-ish, maybe shorter. So the seatbelt didn't protect her and she had a very serious head wound. A woman appeared out of nowhere and pulled me into her van and sat me down and said, "I'm here to help you." And she started doing Reiki on me. And I'm 16 years old. I have no idea what's going on. The next thing I know, I'm feeling better, less pain, calmer. And at that point, that's when one of the police officers came over and said, "We need you to come and speak to your aunt, your godmother, and try and keep her calm while we get her out." A few days later, my godmother did pass away. My cousin and I were in the hall. We were talking, and we both looked at each other and went, "Oh, she's leaving," and went back in the room and kind of, watched her go as it was. So yeah, your story hit home hard. It's one of the stories that I told in the book. My biggest question actually for you is, as a young child, were you discouraged from continuing this connection and these conversations, or did you have the support that you needed to expand and allow that connection to grow? That's the thing I really want to know.
So I actually grew up in a place, in a house that was like Amityville Horror. And lots of bad things happened there. And so my mom forbade me from tapping into any spiritual things at all, even though it didn't stop just because she forbade me from doing it. So I would hide and share it with my grandmother when I would experience things. but I was discouraged. And it wasn't until I was 33 years old and given a year to live that I actually decided to jump into this field and never look back. Funny thing is 8 months after that, after I chose this path, I was completely healed from the heart condition. Like I said, I have lots of stories.
33 is a magic number. That's the year I went to the Philippines, and that's how old I was when I went to the Philippines and started working on my first book, and that's how my life changed. So I hope after the show that you and I can connect, because this is obviously not an accident. Your story is incredible. I get it. I grew up
She
in
said
a house
this is obviously not an accident. But I think, and not to cut you off, Niki, but I think this is what I was talking about on last week's show, where I said, no matter what, there seems to be a common theme, and that the people who show up are meant to show up, because as you can see, we had at least 3 cancellations today. 3 people canceled for whatever reason, and decided not to make their appearance on the Roundtable Talk Show. But yet we have 2 people who are very similar, who have had similar experiences. Wow, I'm just blown away. I want to go back to something you said, Shannon, when you said, and you said it repeatedly, so I just want to make sure we're clear. You said you heard Gabriel say, right? And many people who are watching, especially people who may be on different paths, may not be sure who you were referring to when you said you heard Gabriel. Can we clarify?
So I have connection with the angels, and I'm referring to Archangel Gabriel.
You just say it like, oh, this is my buddy Bob, you know what I mean? So it just kind of surprised me. It stood out there a little bit. He was like, I was talking to the homie, you know. So Dr. McCall, you're just so quiet today. How
I know.
you doing?
I like to listen. I like to listen first and let, the story unfold and share about experiences before, I make comments or ask any questions. But, as a therapist, and when I was listening where you were saying at the time you were married, did your husband have any of these, seen beyond the veil or clairvoyant type gifts as well, or no? And I asked that to see if that creates, was that a problem within the relationship? Maybe he could not understand your gifts or respect them, or kind of things like that. Does that ever create problems in the relationship?
It was so funny because when I met him, he had no idea what he had, the abilities that he had. He just thought they were just weird things that went on in his life. But he was actually a water kinetic. He could command water to pretty much do whatever he wanted to do, in smaller portions, of course, but he would put his hand in water and it would just create this kind of tornado type thing. And then he could push water and it would come back, and it was kind of neat. And he did have the ability to tap in. But the unfortunate thing for him was he was in survival mode and largely a narcissist. So that's the reason why our relationship didn't work out.
Okay, Shannon, I love you, and you know that, but I'm like, you're just so calm. You're like, the man was playing with the water and the water was spinning, and this is just like a everyday scenario. Like, this just happened. I've never seen, I didn't even know what a water kinetic.
You know what? Right. It's because for a lot of us, it is normal. It is normal everyday stuff. And that's why I wrote the book that I wrote. That's why I'm finishing the series that I'm finishing. That's why I do the work that I do. It's supposed to be everyday stuff. We're all mystics. Every single one of us has this power within us to connect.
Oh, yes.
Every single person. Yes. Every single person can connect to the divine. And we all have our own way of expressing that connection. We all have our own way of listening to whatever our chosen guides may be. Michael's my guy. Every time I see him in my head, I see him wearing leather and riding a motorcycle. And my old email used to be Gabriel's gift.
Oh,
at
wow.
gmail.com. So Michael and Gabriel have been a huge part of my life for a very long time. And yes, for a lot of us, it is normal. It is normal everyday stuff. Within our household, both the people that I live with and a few of my friends have just gotten used to what other people refer to as magic. But it's just life. It's just being tuned in and following the guidance. Really, that's all.
Okay, so how do I get my magic? How do I get my mojo? Shannon, what did you
Oh,
say?
I was saying I agree with her 100%. You know, when you live a life where things are constantly happening over and over and over again, and you're in a different plane altogether, it is kind of just a natural thing. It's you know, it's something that I've dealt with my entire life, and so it is just part of who I am. But how you get your mojo is you just make the choice, the shift, and you
ask
get,
for it.
listen.
Remember, ask and ye shall receive.
And I'm a catalyst, so anyone that wants it
LB?
here automatically starts anyway.
Okay, well, we're gonna need you to get your catalytic converter to convert my magic and my mojo to whatever I need. Send it. Look, we gotta stop for my Senate commercial right now because we gonna need some mojo for this Senate. So we gonna talk about how we gonna shift the energy.
One thing we as a people must always remember is that the children are our future and how truly beautiful they are. Sharifah Hardie is here to do just that. She is here to remind us of the beauty in each of us, especially our young people. But we can't just remind our young people of how beautiful they are on the outside. We must teach them how beautiful they are on the inside, and that they too can make a difference in this world. We must provide our young people with more opportunities, such as career training, better education, access to mentors, and the belief that a new day is coming. In fact, that new day is almost here. 2024 will see that new day dawn with Sharifah Hardie as Senator of California, District 33. Make a difference today by donating to the Sharifah Hardie for Senate District 33 campaign at www.sharifahhardieforsenate.com.
My dresses might not fit me like the girls on IG, but I recognize that real is rare. See, I know.
And there's that number 33 again.
Yeah.
We're going to keep popping up. It's going to keep popping up. And I think almost
so
everybody on this panel knows why.
Where else do we see? I don't. I'm a learner, and for even the things I know, I want to make sure our audience knows. So tell us about 33, Niki.
33 is actually it's a really potent number in numerology. It's hard to explain, but it stems back to actually the number 3 itself, which has multiple roots and multiple expressions in Wicca, Christianity, in Catholicism. 3 is a powerful, powerful number. Jesus passed away at 33. A lot of interesting things have happened to people at the age of 33. Awakenings, experiences. I see the number 33 all the time. This was not planned, but in my book, which many people refer to as an activation book. So when you read it, it kind of jump starts you, even though it's a story. It's, you know, I didn't write it. I'm just a pen. But the prayer that started the journey and sent me on my way to the Philippines to write the book actually is on page 33, and we never planned that. 33, I would love to hear others expand on that number, because I know in Christianity and Catholicism, it is very important number. And I think I'd love to hear the others, thoughts on that, because every time I see your commercial for District 33, I just want to jump up and go, yes.
That's
Like,
right.
you got
Jump up, tell your friends, tell everybody. District 33. We like that now, that 33. So Niki, you said what happened? Something happened to you at 33, and Shannon, something happened to you at 33. What was it, Shannon?
I was actually diagnosed with a heart condition and given a year to live at 33. And so I changed my life.
Okay. Okay, LB, is we in the show? You've been nice and quiet and polite over there. What are your thoughts, LB?
Can you hear me now? I'm
Yeah.
actually listening. Like,
We
you know,
can hear you now.
so okay. It's words. I like, Shannon, you said a thought, right? And then I break down words. And I know we're in 2024, and right, it's our language. And so when people use certain words, I think to myself, why that particular word? I think, why say psychic or medium versus another word? Like, because there's connections and patterns to both sides. Now, when I think about the creator that created all things, right? I think about, why choose one title, if you will, versus another? And because, again, the world creates the titles, which either limits you or frees you. It's totally your thought process, right? Totally where you are on that. But not having a clear understanding what you say. And then words can be curses, words can be a whole bunch of different things. So when we break down what that means or what those things are, I'm listening, because I'm curious to hear what, especially if we're tying in the angels, or we're tying in even the creator God, like tying in what those, like, how do we then say, oh, well, then it's this? Because now it, to me, is like a side. So I'm quiet because I want to hear more before I jump in and be like, okay, wait a minute, without saying, no, that's not correct. You know what I mean? Because again, those are thoughts. I will say, everybody has a journey. Everybody has an experience. I will say, awakening, I'm a triplet. So you already know what that means. I'm 3. There's 3 of me. Yes. Born May 30th, right? 5:30. Like, we can break down, we can do all that stuff, done. So, and I believe things happen for a reason and purpose. I too, at a young age, saw, talked, communicated, all that, right? But I'm not, so again, going on titles, going on words, what does that look like? Last year, my father passed away, and the Lord showed me. He showed me this, and I was like, why would he show me this? He showed me this a whole year. And so when I got there, and it was like, no, you need to go there before he passed. I saw everything that he had showed me ahead of time, except for him passing, because I thought we had more time, but that part was out of my control. But you know what I mean? So, but when we start tapping into the creative God being in everything, like, you're going to have experiences. So again, I'm going to take it back to one. Why psychic, medium, clairvoyant? Like, why choice of words when there's other options? And then 2, or why title? Just say, hey, you know what? I'm connected. Like, those are my thoughts.
I love what you just said, because I actually eliminated psychic medium from my titles. It's used for radio shows and things like that, but I actually call myself a catalyst, which allows for a very large field. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of psychic medium myself, so not something I use all the time.
I'm so happy you said that, because I was like, wait a minute, Shannon, talk to me. Right? Because again, when you take away the title, like, when we start really breaking down language and words, like, even the new culture, or the culture of nice means something completely opposite. Like, when we start breaking down the etymology, or the Greek, like, when we start looking at what that really is, you'd be mindful of some of the words you say, because it transcends, and then you're actually bringing that thought process to life as well, right? So it becomes this vicious cycle, especially when you don't know what you're saying and you just think you're saying what you think you're supposed to be saying because that's the word that you're told to say. Like it goes in so many levels. But thank you for clarifying that, because I'm like, wait a minute. Hold on. Let's talk this out a little.
That's an excellent point, because I think, right, but I think that's an excellent point, and I'm glad that you brought it up, LB, because for me, I've had so many different experiences that I tell people there's no way you can explain it away aside from, there was some type of, I don't even, because again, I don't want to put it in words. And so when I have these experiences, people are like, oh, you're a psychic. Oh, you're a medium. Oh, you're a channel. And I'm like, but those words have such negative connotations to them. They have such negative energy to them. People just all of a sudden they see these visions or these things in their minds of who you are and what you do. And it's like, okay, but then what is it, or what do we call it? Have you ever had that experience, Dr. McCall?
Nope. No. So I'm just listening and taking all this in today. Like, this is no.
You've never had anything that you cannot explain away? No, nothing.
I mean, not in this, sense where these two are explaining it, so mine just seemed like, oh, no, I can't, like nothing is coming to the forefront. Like I just really couldn't explain how this happened. And I'm literally sitting here thinking, like, have I had any of these types of experiences? But it's mostly like people around me and in my family and things like that, stories I do hear. So being around it versus me having those types of experiences, I'm jealous. I don't get it.
I kind of get it because of the work you do. You have to stay very grounded. You have to stay like very here in the now, and you work closely with people, and you have an analytical mind. Your faith is absolutely unshakable. That I know from having listened to you speak in the past. So your connection to the creator, the divine, is already there. But your work here requires you to be super, super grounded. As far as titles go, I love also what you said. That's why on my social media, I'm just called the pen. Just pen. That's all I do. Just pen.
Oh, I like that.
I wanted to add the.
But you know what, Niki, you make a.
I think we have a delay. Did you want to go?
Go ahead, LB. Take the floor.
So what I was saying, Niki, for Dr. McCall, her being now and present is one of the things of being free, released from the titles, which gives her a closer connection. Because again, it's all about the relationship and the connection. The first thing that Shannon talked about was a relationship. She's had a relationship in her connection since she was knee high or born, right? We all have been born into a connection, and it's just really getting tapped in and understanding what that is. I'm a Jesus believer, so I believe in Jesus Christ. That's me. That's LB, right? I believe in God. God is the creator of all, right? And so I believe that. But my belief, as we talk about faith, right? Faith to me equals freedom. Like when you have your faith and it's connected to that, all the other stuff no longer matter, and you're free from the limitations of what people put on something. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I was. So as Shannon talked about being a thought, and Dr. McCall, nothing to be jealous about is when you tap in closer relationship and ask for it, girl, be careful what you ask for. Because
I'm like Niki. I'm the one. Yeah, hold my hand and I will make sure you stay anchored to the floor when you're ready to come back.
Yeah, I mean that's why you're here, girl, and I love you for it. And
I say that
that's your connection, that's your power.
It happens quite often around me. I can see things I've experienced vicariously, things through others. So I totally understand, but it's not where I work to channel that in through myself. I definitely love being the guide or the present when someone wants to come back or reeled back in. And I look at that in a sense of where I work with psychedelics quite a bit unofficially, on studies, should I say, with that. And I can just see these experiences where people may speak or talk to their ancestors or have had people that have passed away within their family, and they're trying to resolve grief and things like that. So in that realm of therapy that is now, going to be accessible to all, hopefully the FDA approves these different medicines, these plant medicines. I've seen those things happen, where in traditional therapy, if someone's like, hey, this person's coming to me and talking to me, would be like, what? Put them on a hold, right? But whereas in this, we understand this medicine definitely opens up these pathways to deeper realms and things like that of the mind and the brain and stuff like that, to where others are more close, are able to access, the spirit world and things like that. So where I'm saying like, oh no, I see it, it's not happening to me, but I do see these things and I'm close in that relationship in that regard. I think it's just different from experiencing it in the way Shannon and Niki have had that opportunity.
Well, I can say that I've literally survived my childhood, and I've literally survived up to this point, and definitely because I've been surrounded by guides and people who are angels who take good care of me. However, what you say, be careful what you wish for, right? With this ability, these abilities comes unmeasurable responsibility, and also these experiences that have you teetering sometimes between life and death. And so it's not always roses.
No, I say that often. It's not always sunshine, fluffy bunnies. I'm glad you used the word responsibility. Really, thank you for that, because along with the work that we do, yes, there is a lot of responsibility that comes along with that. And you have to be willing to go where you're led. You have to be open to continuing to learn, because, we continue to expand, right?
Yeah, so I was going to say, you said something that was really important, and actually came to me today. So I was driving and I get the message, as long as you're in the divine flow, oh, the places you will go. And I was like, that it's just such a great thing, because when you go into that flow, you're allowing for the universe, the creator, to guide you exactly where you need to be. Some of the places that you go to are magnificent, and some of them are. I was caught in a Walmart parking lot one time where my car had broken down. I'm like, really? This is where you want me to be? And it turned out to where someone was getting ready. They were contemplating suicide. And I got to speak to them and, guide them. And then I said, okay, creator, I'm not going to doubt you anymore. Have me exactly where you need me to be.
I love that, because again, when we start thinking not of self and
that's
just going
beautiful.
right, left, you get to be that, because that's what we're called to be. It's for someone else. It is not for us, it's for someone else. And when you get rid of ego, get rid of self, it actually it changes everything and the whole thought process, right? Because again, that's how we were created. That's what we were created for. But that's taking away the selfish desires and being open to the flow of what he's had you to do for that reason. And yeah, you became a blessing, which then you got blessed as well. So amen.
When you're in the state of joy, you can create a ton of things, and the biggest thing you can create is healing for others. So it's awesome.
Yeah, that's why we always talk about self-healing.
I love it. But I have a question. This is the question I always ask, and I probably asked you this question 18 times, Shannon, and I'll ask Niki as well. I always wonder, what is the point of, and I know they're like, you're not supposed to question God, but like you said, you were shown what was going to happen to you being shot 2 months prior. Do you feel there was a reason why you were shown that? Do you feel like you were shown that because you would know what to do, so that you would know this was coming? Do you feel that it would have allowed you to change the inevitable? Maybe you weren't supposed to take those tickets. Do you ever give those questions any thought?
I truly feel if I wasn't meant to be there, I wouldn't have been there. I feel if I wasn't there, that had my friends have gone, they may
Mhm.
not have made it. But on the other side of that, um, I, I'm a true believer that when you're supposed to do something, no matter what, even if you're given, even if you're given a warning, it's gonna happen. For me, I saw it 2 months ahead of time so that I could aid in the healing process, so that I wouldn't have had a gaping injury. Because had that bullet stayed in there, I would not be sitting here today.
But in addition, I think what I heard, what
Mm.
you said when you told your story, was that it exited out of your body as well. Also, you said the angel told you prior that, hey, you're saved, you're going to be okay, right? So again, going into that, even though you were in shock because you were in two, right? You're listening, and then your reality was like, do I not listen, right? Because you had a choice, and everything I think in what we are in is a choice, right? And recognizing where we're at in those choices. But that's what stood out to me, is because you were told, you listened, and you followed instruction. And oftentimes we try to do it ourselves, and that's where we fall short of, because the instructions, guided, listen, have an ear to hear, all those things are right there in front of us. It's just whether or not we're ready to take on. And I love how you said responsibility, because again, as you ask for things and things are imparted or so forth on you, those things you ask for, be mindful, because they're gifts for others, not for self.
Right. Right. 100%. Yes.
Absolutely.
I always get confused though, because when we say we have a choice, but then we say it's going to happen, it's like, so is it going to happen, or do we have a choice?
Well, if she would have to me, if she would have panicked, even though the angel told her she was going to be fine, she would have panicked. She was making a choice to do something different than being obedient to what was told of her. That's the choice. You can be obedient and sacrifice, right? Because it doesn't mean it's a clean journey. It's just, I'm going to follow, but I know you were already assured of what the outcome is going to be, right? You know what I mean? And you have to have faith to support that very thought process as well. Belief, if you will.
And I did have a choice, because I did have a bad feeling on the way there. And had I had just turned around and went back home, my choice would have had terrible consequences for somebody else. I was supposed to be there. And had I chosen not to be there, I would imagine one of my friends would have died. Equal, it was it for every
Aw.
action.
So
An
how does someone, this is a wonderful conversation. I'm just heartbroken that we are running out of time. We have come down to the last few minutes of the show. And what I love to do at the end of every show is just simply allow the guests the opportunity to speak directly to the audience, to everyone who is watching this show live, as well as everyone who is watching in the archives, and let them know what you want them to take away from your appearance here today. And we're going to start with you, Niki.
Okay, so I'm going to reach over. Shameless self-promotion. But again, I wrote it, but I didn't write it. Truth, My Synchronistic Journey is something that I was led to do, and it changed my life completely. And it has changed the lives of many people who've read it in different ways. It's what some people refer to as an activation book. My publicist actually has read it 6 times, and she says every time she reads it, she levels up. What I would take away from today is every single one of us have it within us to connect to the divine, and all you need to do to receive help is to ask for it, and then listen and keep your eyes open and follow where you're led, because the divine will never let you down. Even when it seems like it's all falling apart, It's for a reason. And you're going to come out the other side, better person for you, better person for your friends and family, a better person for the world at large.
And where can they find your book?
You can find it on Amazon. Look it up, Truth, My Synchronistic Journey. Once again, Niki J. Norlock.
Yes. Thank you, Niki. Miss Shannon. Shannon, what do you have for the people?
So I want to keep it simple. Our thoughts, words, and actions create our reality. You know, if we're thinking negative, we're going to draw negative. If we're speaking negative, we're going to draw negative. So if you want to create a different reality and you want to create a different life and you're not happy with your life that you're in right now, call, plot, twist, and shift. Shift what it is that you don't like. If it doesn't bring you joy, if it doesn't bring you peace, it doesn't belong in your life. And then, go with the flow. And I just want to, end my little spiel with what the angel said today. I'm going to repeat it one more time. When you're in the divine flow, oh, the places you will go.
That is so beautiful. So beautiful. Thank you, Miss Shannon. Dr. McCall, what are your thoughts? What should the people take away today?
Wow, I'm just blown away. I think taking away these types of experiences, sometimes what Niki and Shannon have experienced can be really hard for non-believers to take in, or even the believers to take in. So just sitting here and listening, it makes me think about where people that experience those types of phenomenons can be met with resistance or disregard to, non-believing people or those who are just not tapped in. So I think it's just being able to, whether you agree or not agree or can relate or cannot relate, it is always looking for some perspective in how we are all, connected and aligned. So that would be something I would want people to take away today.
And where can people find more information about you?
People can find more information about me on insightme.com. So that's the letter N, SIGHTME.com.
Thank you, Dr. McCall. And LB, what do you think about today's show? What do you have to say?
It was definitely food for thought for all. I actually, this is one of the ones I wish we would have had 2 hours because there's so much more. But what I'm going to say, and what I always say, is just do you, be you, and shine. As you are connected, as you are in your search, ask and you will receive, and just be mindful what that is. And actually just really, so many different ways, but to get out of the religion thought process or the religious factors, everything is about your personal relationship. And then from there, answers will come to light for you. That's what I'm going to leave it with. But to reach me or to catch me, again, I'm agent to the stars is what I always say, but literary talent agent. You can go to my website, LyNea.Bell. Let me make it easy for you because you won't be able to spell my name. bhtalent.com. You can go to find us there at bhtalent.com for anything agency related.
Thank you, LB. This has been an incredible show. And this is what I love to do. Everybody's like, why are you running for Senate? Why do you want to change the world? And it's because I truly, truly, truly believe that change starts with the conversation. And that's what we love to do here, is have conversations on the Roundtable Talk Show. I am your host, Sharifah Hardie. You can find me at SharifahHardieForSenate.com. You can also find my marketing PR website at AskSharifah.com. But the thing is that I'd like to request is that everyone be a change agent and be a change for someone else. And if you want to be a guest, please visit the website at theroundtabletalkshow.com. Until next time, everyone have a safe and a blessed week. Bye now.